Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Farida, and I will be giving a slightly less technical, let's say untechnical presentation today for you to relax a bit. So it will be about deep sea mineral resources for wind power or for anything else. So we will start with a short introduction, then I will proceed with the need for metals. Then I will talk about the sources of metals, first of all, onshore mining and issues associated with onshore mining. And then I will move to the main part of my presentation about deep sea mineral resources, and I will consider issues associated with them. Then finally, I will introduce our team and our work to you. Okay, just a little bit introduction about myself. I'm a PhD candidate on industrial economics at Norwegian University of Science and Technology. And I've been working on interface between economics and geosciences when it comes to deep sea mining for more than 6 years now. And we all in our team, we have interdisciplinary skill set, which I can tell you a little bit later about at the end of the presentation. But for now, let me familiarize you with the emerging sector of deep sea mining, which is the main goal of the presentation. So since the Industrial Revolution, the world has been characterized by fast population growth and intensified human activities, which have been the main driver of climate change. And to prevent the worst effects of climate change, greenhouse gas emissions should be cut as close to zero as possible. Which is reflected in the UN Sustainable Development Goals, particularly in Goal 7, Affordable and Clean Energy, and 13, Climate Action. And today, the energy sector accounts for about 3/4 of greenhouse gas emissions, and this energy sector is also a key to prevent the worst effects of climate change. Replacing polluting fossil fuels with clean energy technologies would significantly reduce carbon dioxide emissions, we hope. And these so-called clean energy technologies include renewable power, in particular wind, which we consider today, nuclear power, electricity networks, electric vehicles, and also battery storage. And metals are a core part of the challenge society is facing in its transition to a net zero economy. So according to the International Energy Agency, demand for key energy minerals is set to grow rapidly, with the largest source of growth coming from the energy sector. And regarding the wind energy, metals such as zinc, copper, manganese, rare earth elements, and others are required for wind turbines, for example. And according to the International Energy Agency, metal demand for wind energy could double in the next decades, as you can see on the picture on the right side. And nowadays, these critical metals and mineral resources are mined from onshore ore deposits, and they are associated with several issues I wanted to discuss. So, in order to keep up with the demand growth rates, onshore mining activities are expanding. And because most of the high-grade deposits have already been exploited, mining shifts towards lower grade sites, remote areas, and lower depth. And these activities cause a huge impact on the environment, especially in lower grade sites. According to the International Energy Agency, overall supplies of some key energy minerals are on track to meet projected demand, but there are exceptions, such as copper and lithium, for example, where the expected mine supply from announced projects falls short of projected demand. This supply gap is particularly concerning due to rising project costs and a sharp slowdown in new resource discoveries, all of which make bringing new supply online highly challenging. The geographical concentration of mining operation is said to remain high for most of the minerals. Mined supply is set to increase in concentration in the top 3 countries for copper, nickel, cobalt during the next decade. The same is for the refining operations, meaning the final processing of ore to metals, to create metals, which these refining operations for most minerals are said to remain highly concentrated over the next decade, mostly in China. And this high market concentration, it means that there is a risk of significant shortfalls in supply if for any reason supply from the largest producing country is disrupted. Disruptions in mineral supplies can have major impacts on technology prices, manufacturing competitiveness, inflation, and the wider economy. And talking about the high geographical concentration, I want to give some examples of mined metal supplies. And the most outstanding, I would say, example is that the most mined cobalt comes from Congo. So it's more than half of the mined metal comes from there. So it's very, very high concentration. And this country is associated with many problems such as human rights violation, etc., child labor. So yeah, the aim is to try to diversify the metal sources as possible. Amongst potential ways of diversification of metal supply is an increase in recycling rates. Enhancing critical minerals recycling offers substantial financial and sustainability benefits, reducing mining investment needs. And it can also mitigate the environmental and social impacts associated with mineral production. And in order to ensure secure and sustainable mineral supply chains, redoubling of efforts to scale up all forms of recycling, urban mining, and mine waste treatment is needed. But this is not our focus. Our focus is on another type of alternative for diversification is deep sea mining. So yeah, this is one of the alternatives, one of the non-conventional sources from which metals can be recovered. So here you can see the map showing different types of deep sea mineral resources and how they are distributed in the world ocean. So considering each type of them separately, let's start with polymetallic nodules. These are small potato-shaped deposits that contain copper, cobalt, nickel, manganese, rare earth elements, etc. The second type is seafloor massive sulfides, which are located in areas of the ocean floor with high hydrothermal activities. And they mostly contain copper, gold, silver, zinc, and also some rare earth elements as well. And the last type of deposits typical for deep ocean floor is cobalt-rich crusts, which contain copper, cobalt, rare earth elements, manganese, etc. These resources, they offer a potential alternative source which with the capacity to supplement supply chains and diversify global access to these strategic materials. However, the exploitation of this deposit raises complex issues, questions, which includes, for example, regulatory problems or issues, that there are no mining rules, for example, or how the benefit should be shared. This I will talk a bit later during the next slides. There is no tested equipment which will not harm the environment. The projects have very long lifetime, and there is, of course, threats to biodiversity, and we don't really know how the mining the seafloor will affect them. So, as I said, further, I wanted to focus on the regulatory issues, which I mentioned about the regulations and also about the benefit sharing. So the main regulatory document for deep sea is the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or just the Law of the Sea. This is like a Bible of the oceans, and it governs all the activities, all the regions in the world ocean. And this document, it delineates the ocean into several zones. So the main two sections are national and international areas. So national area is including the continental shelf, and the international area is the one called the area on the right side, which where no nations have any rights. And in both of these areas, there could be these resources which I just mentioned. But so the area called the area, their resources located there are called considered the common heritage of mankind. This means that these resources, they belong to all of us, to all the mankind, and this creates some problems and issues, especially when managing. That's why in 1994, it was formed an International Seabed Authority, an organization to manage this area, where the countries which ratified the Convention on the Law of the Sea, they have a seat. They have representatives there in this organization, and they meet like twice or three times a year to discuss the regulatory, environmental, finance issues, for example, related to deep sea mining or to deep sea mineral exploration. They manage exploration contracts, etc. And coming back to the graph I showed you before about the main metal suppliers, now you can see in the red, the developing states are highlighted. So this suggests, and the studies suggest, that deep sea mining can put pressure on the market by increasing supply and create pressure for these countries. And one of the main goals of the Convention on the Law of the Sea is to support developing states. That's why this study of how deep sea mining will affect the developing states was conducted. I took part in it, and we considered these states which produce metals, and we counted, evaluated which part of exports, which part of their GDP is exports of these metals, and which part of their total revenue is export revenue from these metals. And quite a lot of countries in our calculations would be negatively affected by deep sea mining, because their revenues will be lowered because of the competition with deep sea mining. And the question is how to help these countries. It comes back to the question of benefit sharing. So the Convention on the Law of the Sea says that the resources are common heritage of mankind. Therefore, these resources, they should be shared with the mankind as a whole. And again, the question is to be able to answer the question how to share these revenues or resources. We need to define what is benefit, what is mankind as a whole, what is equitable sharing. So what is benefit? Benefits could be monetary and non-monetary, and the monetary benefits for the mankind as a whole, they include royalties. Royalties are like taxes that will be paid for by the companies which will do deep sea mining in the international area of the seafloor to this organization, International Seabed Authority. And the plan is to create an economic assistance fund where part of these royalties will go, and these funds will be used to support these developing states which will be seriously affected by deep sea mining. There are also non-monetary benefits, which include personal training, capacity building, environmental protection, knowledge sharing, etc. Then the next question was what is mankind as a whole? So is it all the states in the world? Is it the states which ratified the law of the sea, which are not all of the states did? Are these developing states, every individual, or so we don't know how we should account for this mankind concept. What is the definition? And then the last one I raised is equitable sharing. What is equitable sharing? Is it proportional based on ownership rights, or it is progressive to redistribute wealth and remedy inequity? Among the ideas proposed about this equitable sharing was a seabed sustainability fund, which might deal with or spend for capacity development in deep sea science, or to protect the environment, or to create some research projects or regional centers for research. But here we also have a question of administration of this fund and how fairly administer it and how fair would be access to funding, etc. So the part before was about my previous work. So it was about international area and deep sea mineral resources there. Now I'm part of an interdisciplinary project at my university here in Norway, which is called Triple Deep, Deep Dilemmas, Deep Sea Mining for the New Deep Transition. And here we mainly focus on national jurisdictions right now in Norway, as part of the project. So the main research question of our project is, can deep sea mining contribute to the new economy in a socially acceptable, economically viable, and ecologically sustainable manner? The aim is to find a balance between environmental protection on land and in the ocean and the demands of societal development and economic growth. And to answer the question whether this balance can be achieved without endangering the marine environment at a cost that is not prohibitive within the existing technological paradigm and a viable ocean governance regime. So we believe that these four dilemmas must be solved before deep sea mining can be considered as a viable solution. These dilemmas represent the interdisciplinarity of our team, consisting of economists, which I am and my supervisor, geoscientists, biologists, and historians. So these dilemmas are about, the first one, for example, is about distributing risks and rewards of moving mining from land to sea, about balancing local laws and global actions, technological solutions to reduce habitat and biodiversity loss, and policies for investment and technology choice under uncertainty. And I am is responsible for the last part of it, about the policies. Within each team, we aim to answer research questions. So here I give questions of each of our team, and my question is, how can the market be adapted to enable necessary investments in radically new technology and infrastructure for deep sea mining, given the high levels of regulatory uncertainty and the substantial risk of stranded assets inherent in selection of new technology path? Yeah. So, in conclusion, I can say that deep sea mining has the potential to provide a significant share of the metals required for large-scale wind power deployment, particularly copper, nickel, and cobalt. And its contribution to supply chain resilience depends on technological readiness, transparent governance, and effective environmental safeguards. While deep sea mineral resources could reduce reliance on geopolitically concentrated terrestrial deposits, their exploitation carries ecological risks that remain incompletely understood, and there are many other uncertainties remaining. And sustainable integration into the wind power supply chain therefore requires robust international regulation, adaptive management strategies, and advances in low-impact mining technology. Under these conditions, deep sea mining could complement but not replace land-based supply, supporting the diversification of critical metal sources essential for clean energy transition. These are the references I used, and thank you very much. And if you want to collaborate with us, we are very welcome. And if you, yeah, I'm listening to your questions if you have some.